Yeah.
So are you the same as me, a better chocolate maker than technologist?
Well, no, I had some issues with my iPad. I had everything ready to go, and then microphone would work, but not the video. So I apologize for the delay.
No worries. How you doing, man?
Good, good.
Thanks for the goodie box.
Oh, you did get that. I'm glad you got that. Yeah.
And you'd probably miss me saying it. This coconut ginger bar is my new favorite, like, bean-to-bar chocolate in North America.
So you can post that everywhere you share social media, Brian.
This bar was awesome. I didn't eat
Yeah.
the whole thing because I was going to eat some of it with you. And I didn't share it with my assistant either.
Yeah. Well, I know somebody that can get you more.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I haven't quite broken into I've broken into all of them. I haven't had the chutzpah to break into the ghost pepper bar yet.
It's not that bad. It's the way I describe it to people is it's like a medium salsa in terms of heat level. It's not made for you to swear at me and watch you sweat. It's nice to pick up the chocolate, and then you'll get a little bit of the sea salt, and then the ghost pepper at the very end. So it's a friendly ghost. It's like Casper. Is it too much for you?
No, I think when it hits, it hits. How's that?
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe
it's there.
Maybe it's how I put it on my tongue.
Yeah.
So
flip it the other way. Well, have some more of that dark milk from the Caribbean, and that milk will slow it down.
Or the cereal bar.
Oh yeah.
Which I'm not sure about.
Yeah, it's a fun crunch. It's for bean to bar chocolate. It's a nice way for kids to kind of a gateway bar.
It's all the rage in the THC business.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So how's it going? How's
good?
I mean, obviously it's been a crazy couple of years, I'm sure.
Yep.
But how are you guys doing?
Good
overall.
Good. We're very small scale, but we continue to expand what we're doing. Production, we're at a point right now where it's a delicate balance on a sometimes daily basis. Making sure that we have cocoa beans on hand that are ready to go, and that we've been blessed where a lot of our equipment has been running as it's supposed to. So I haven't, and I'm incredibly grateful for that, because we can leverage around that if we need to with other equipment that we have. But it's been good, and right now it's just keeping up with the demand and going down some uncharted territory for us, because last year was a very busy season for us, and this year is amping up to be even greater.
Those all sound like good problems, though, right?
Yeah, they're good problems. Like, we're incredibly blessed. I was telling someone the other day, just getting a phone call from you 5-6 weeks ago, it just sitting there shaking my head. It's just I'm very grateful. A lot of gratitude for all the blessings that we've had here, and it's our responsibility to keep it going.
I don't know. A call for me. I don't know that a call for me is a blessing.
Yeah,
I gotta be honest with you. It's like, I don't know. My wife will tell you it's not.
It wasn't for a technical trouble call, so it was all good. If I had an issue with my tempering machine and you're calling, then it could have gone a different way. But
right,
it's been running like a champ.
Okay, so let's rewind, because I know a little bit about y'all, but not everybody does. So you guys are in Manchester, New Hampshire, hence the
Yes.
Loon thing.
Yep, yep. I'm a product of New Hampshire, born and raised. And when I went to name our chocolate, I wanted it to represent some part of New Hampshire in some way. And I don't know, loons are kind of a badass bird.
And they'll keep you up at night, if nothing else.
Yeah, if you're in a good location, they will keep you up. They will keep you up.
Summer's on Lake Winnipesaukee, by the way.
Yes.
This guy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
why
so
is the loon making noise at 4 a.m? The sun's not out yet.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Yeah. They're about ready to migrate, so it'll quiet down. So you can come see us.
Okay.
But so I just wanted something that was local, and then come to find out, we have a little bit of a following in the Northwest, and also I ship orders to Minnesota often because there's a greater population there. So it's kind of fun to see it get some recognition.
But so the business, how old's the business now?
We're 3.5 years old. So first quarter of 2018.
But you've not always been in chocolate, right?
Right. Yeah. My background. I've worked before this. I did some work in project management, but my real background is brewing beer, and I was a craft brewer for about 7 years in the mid '90s. So that's kind of what drove me to craft chocolate.
But you did some time where? The Culinary Institute, right? Is that kind of where that whole escapade kind of started?
Well, Johnson and Wales is where I went to
Sorry.
college. No. Like, I didn't go for culinary arts, so I admire anyone that goes to school for any type of culinary studies. But during that time, I had probably some of the best dorm food I've ever had in my life. But it really expanded my palate, where just seeing food presented in a different way, and taste profiles, and hanging out with some very passionate friends that went on to become some great chefs. It really just made me look at food totally different than I had done before. So shortly after I left college, I became a fishmonger, of all things, and cut fish for a long time, and that indirectly through a friend got me into beer. And
Scott, it's not the straightest line to chocolate.
No. I tell people I kind of go the hard route in doing things. It's kind of the direction that I went is not necessarily the normal path, but it's a good one. Good one for me. How did
the chocolate thing happen then? I mean,
sure.
There's beer, and I know your bio talks about synergies between beer and chocolate. Yeah. But I mean, what? Okay, other than the slick bio from the marketing department, how does that connection get made?
Yeah. So the marketing department is my girlfriend, so it wasn't that big of a marketing department, but she writes much better than I do.
She writes right good.
Yeah. No, it was simple. I remember sitting on a couch one day watching a food documentary, and I'm pretty sure it was a Vietnamese coffee house. And in the background, they had mentioned, oh yeah, we roast cocoa beans and we make our own cocoa beans, or we make our own chocolate. And it was kind of a light bulb that went off in my head. And the first thing was, how come I don't know how chocolate is made? Like, something that is so universally adored and accepted, how come I don't know anything about this? And So then I went down a rabbit hole of just trying to understand the process, and it reminded me of my days, doing that travel to Hershey Park and going through the tour and whatnot, but not really retaining any of that information. And then just starting to look at things and see the growth of craft chocolate popping up in different parts of the country. And it totally reminded me of 1993 and friends coming back from Pike's Place with this dark beer and just being blown away by it. And so I started to play around with it at my house. And then one day I looked at my dog and said, should we do this? And here we are.
And the dog did not argue.
No, he doesn't complain too much as long as he gets spoiled.
So I remember that whole era of beer, right? I mean, with lots of people figuring it out, right? Like there were lots of people that were kind of like small regional players that were doing it because they love beer or they thought they were going to be acquired or whatever, right?
Right.
And that was sort of that first, or not first, but it's that was that cusp of craft brewing, right? Coming out of like Sam Adams and all that jazz in the 80s, right?
Yeah. It was definitely a big wave of people attacking it in many different ways. And, I look at craft chocolate or just premium chocolate right now, and I see the same thing where you have people like Fruition that make bean to bar chocolate, but are also really starting to produce some amazing confections.
Right.
And
do you think so I made fun of the bio line, but I mean, do you think it's going to follow that same kind of trajectory? I mean, do you think it's going to be this growth and then acquisition and contraction, or do you think it's sort of or do you think there's a need for that regional smaller bean to bar chocolate maker for tasting bars?
Yeah. I don't know if we're advanced enough, at least on the bean to bar level, to be even thinking things like acquisitions. To me, it's like Loon Chocolate. We just need to pump out the best chocolate for our customers and focus on that. But I do see similarities. I see it with beer. I've seen it with coffee. I've seen it with cheese and California wine, where once the American palate is different from them and they learn a little bit about it, there's a lot of education in bean to bar chocolate. People do gravitate to it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've told this story at least once in the last 2 years on this, or a year and a half, whatever we've been doing it. But I read a book like 15 years ago, and it talked about coffee culture in the United States, right? And that guy on the way to work in 1973 bought his cup of coffee and bought a donut, right? And spent $1, right? And now that same guy, no matter what status of work, is now buying their latte and a croissant. And they're now spending $6, right? I mean, there's inflation in there too. But I think that I don't know where the paradigm shifted in food culture, and I'm not going to try to. Some historian better than me at Food Network will tell me when. But somewhere along the way, we evolve on different food groups at different times in this country. Yeah. It's kind of interesting to watch, like you talked about beer and I think pastry, and because that's my thing, right? And chocolate is not the Whitman's box sampler at I don't know what the appropriate drugstore in New Hampshire
CVS,
right, where there were two choices in 1975. There was your local chocolate company, which everybody had their one, like their chocolate maker, not company, right? So where am I going to get my buttercream? And then there was that box of sampler from Whitman's or whatever, and then if you splurged in 1983, you got a box of Godiva, right? And you look now at that culture, it's evolved again into this. It's coming at you from a bunch of different angles, which is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I look at, bean to bar chocolate, and I personally think that term is going to fade away at some point. And it will be craft chocolate. It'll be something similar to that. It'll advance to another level. No one uses the term microbrewery anymore, just as an example. But yeah, I mean, right around the corner from us, we have a great chocolatier, and he's selling really high-end chocolate, and it's beautiful works of art. And you could never get that 10 years ago in this area.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had a friend who has their own little corner of the world, and they're in a sort of a lesser developed chocolate culture, right? And we had a talk 5 years ago about if he was in a different station in his life, being not married with kids and family, he would go to one of those second cities, right? Not New York, not Chicago, and open a chocolate business, because he could see that writing on the wall about what was happening to our industry, right? And New York's been there for 15, 20 years.
Right.
Rent's too high. But Charlotte, which was the city we were talking about at that point, was not there, right? And it's interesting to see that actually happen across the board with chocolate. I mean, I think the craft chocolate side, you're right. I mean, bean to bar is sort of a bad term, right? I mean, everybody's making bean to bar chocolate.
Yeah, Lindt. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Calabo makes bean to bar chocolate.
Right. And kudos to them for doing it. But
well, it's economy of scale at that point.
Yeah.
But when you're buying, when you're the largest chocolate company in the world, you probably get a good price on beans.
Yeah.
But so the differentiation points, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, the beans come from the same places, right?
Yeah.
The reality, right? But the differentiation is like, what are we doing in regards to farmers, and what are we doing in regards to agriculture, right? And what are we doing in regards to, pesticides and all that stuff too, right? I mean,
yeah.
The inside, by the way, not only is the chocolate good, the packaging, it's
tactile,
luxurious.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we just redid our packaging in March, and that's another thing that we looked at. That term often thrown around to describe 2020, and we just said, F that, we're going to do what we do, and move forward with our business model. But I think it's interesting on the back of your packaging, and if your girlfriend designed this, she's a wonderful marketing department.
No, I so you still use the term bean to bar on here, right?
Yep.
Small batch.
The bean to bar, that was, I'm on the fence, because I like to use the term craft chocolate more often than not. There's a lot of education that continues to grow in my market and is needed. People don't know what a cocoa bean is. So just expanding on that into craft chocolate is something that we'll probably push forward with on our next line of packaging.
Yeah, I think it's nomenclature, right? Like, I think the term artisan now, right?
Oh, yeah.
When Panera is using the term artisan, which I think I got an ad, I saw an ad yesterday for, something artisan at Panera. I think we've moved the definition slightly.
I saw the other day an advertisement for iced tea or lemonade from Wendy's described as craft lemonade or craft iced tea, and it just Yeah, by definition, they can use that term, but it kind of bastardizes it for the rest of people that are using it.
Yeah, I always tell the story. I like the fact that the FDA has no standard of identity on the term natural.
Yeah.
You can call anything you want natural.
Oh yeah.
Because it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it came from the ground, just with some chemical adjustments.
So where are so I know your beans are sourced from all over the world, but where are some of your sources?
Yep. So we use uncommon cacao for a lot of our beans, and we get them from Bolivia, Uganda, right now, and I think we're going to stay with that for a little bit because we're just we're going through some transitions where it isn't officially announced, but we're going to be expanding into a new location in the next.
We won't tell anybody.
Yeah, I won't tell anybody either, unless especially not my current landlord. But yeah, we're going to be growing soon. So I have a couple other things in the fire that I'm working on, and it took a long time to get our packaging to where I'm real happy with it. So,
right. So I mean, okay. So you're watching this show and you dig all this up about chocolate, and you presumably you buy a small melange on Amazon.
Yep.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Am I close?
Yep. Yeah.
And you
pretty perfect.
And you start doing recipes. You get some beans from somewhere, and you start making recipes at home. Like the thing that always amazes me about that entrepreneurial, like innovative spirit is somewhere along the line you had to say, your words, not mine. F it. I'm going to quit my job, and I'm going to do this. Right?
Yeah.
Like, devil be damned. We're going. Damn the torpedoes, full steam ahead. Right? I mean. That takes some chutzpah. That's the second time I've used chutzpah in this conversation, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely like kind of like a advanced math problem that made sense to me. That's the way I describe it. Like when I look in my head and everything that was happening related to it, and going to like, when you talked about Charlotte as like a second tier or even a third tier city.
No
like
disrespect to Charlotte. No disrespect to
no,
people from Charlotte that we just called you a third tier city. I live in Buffalo, New York. I have no disrespect for Charlotte.
No, but I live in Manchester, New Hampshire, and you know there's 3 widely known chocolatiers less than 2 miles from my house, and I still looked at that and said, well, we're making something a little different than they are, and we're going to do us the best we can, and I think we're on our way.
Population 115,000, Manchester, New Hampshire, by the way.
Yeah, it probably feels like even more than that some days when you see what people are paying for rent here. I know it's a national problem or national challenge, but yeah.
But why did you think that? I mean, honestly, why did you think that Manchester was right for that? Or did you think that you brought something that was different enough that people would have to try it?
Yeah, I looked at going back to those different tiers of population. When I saw what was going on in Seattle and San Francisco, DC area, and definitely New York, I go back to craft beer. It just reminded me, when you see people that are tasting something for the first time, that have never tasted anything like it, and you know what, they might not buy that same product week after week, but it definitely builds on a person's palate, where going to coffee and talking about Starbucks, that gentleman that you described paying a buck for a burnt coffee, when he had his first Starbucks, it tasted completely different than what he was getting at the local convenience store. And over time, if you look at the long haul, I think people's palates will gravitate into that direction.
Where's your chocolate going though? Is it going in this box and going away, or is it staying in Manchester and there's people there that are coming in?
Yeah, so we have, I don't know, I think we have about 30, 40 wholesale accounts that we do. Since changing our packaging and website, our online sales have really gone up a lot. And then moving forward as part of this classified secret between you and me, Brian, when we open our retail store, we'll grab sales from that as well.
But I think when I bugged you the first time, you were like, I'm on my way to some market or something that you were.
Oh no, I was at an antique market in Western Mass.
Got it. So not selling chocolate.
No. I was antique shopping like on a Friday afternoon.
Got it. So how do you? I mean, are you out like pounding on doors and like working on distribution, or how do you grow this? Right.
A couple ways. One, I do a lot of specialty food craft markets this time of year. So like a bigger version of like a church craft fair. We're in stores, and I have a couple sales rep, one that represents us in northern New England, and then another one that represents us in the other, probably 46 states minus Hawaii. So by doing that, they work on the windshield time, and we can focus on the chocolate.
So your gig is really, because that's a question that I'm always intrigued by too. Like your gig is you're the chocolate guy.
Yeah. Manufacturing and is I think long term what we continue to want to be our core business is focusing on manufacturing chocolate and having it available. At a strong presence in New Hampshire is our probably goal one.
How big is the batch these days?
We do 100-pound batches. So we have a couple grinders that do 100 pounds, and we just acquired another one that does 60. So we have the ability to do about 400 pounds a week.
So each batch is around 500 bars, 525, something like that.
650. Yeah.
Got it. I was underscoring the bar weight.
No,
I don't know my own bar weight.
No, it's all good. It's like, this is something that goes through my head when I'm looking at production forecast. I don't expect, and some of that we do sell, like there's a couple of restaurants that we sell, like charcuterie boards have become very popular. We have some people purchasing almost like a sugar cube size version of our bars to be on their charcuterie boards, which is kind of a nice expansion of our business too.
So the flavors are interesting. Like, I've brought it up a couple of times, but yeah, you sent me a box of chocolate with, a pretty wide assortment. How many different chocolates are you making right now, or how many different bars?
Yeah, we have 4 single origin, 70% and higher, and then we have 8 inclusions that we currently do. And I did kind of cheat. I know that you really like coconut, so the Caribbean Kiss is one of our more popular flavors, but I knew to make sure that was in the box for you, hopefully to put a smile on your face.
I have a ginger problem too. So you'd like one on 2 fronts.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
but I didn't know that Maine had a sea salt industry, by the way. Like I didn't
Yeah,
even know.
a small one. I like so
Burgeoning, artisan, an
yeah,
artisan craft sea salt industry burgeoning in
solar
Maine.
solar dried, by the way, which is another step up. But you have to go north, pretty far north in Maine to get it. But you know, I guess that's my own personal take on trying to be as local as possible, where I see a lot of Himalayan salt and salt from other areas. And I said, why would I look further than, driving distance from my own home if I can? Obviously, I'm not going to get beans from, driving distance, but if I can get other ingredients, I certainly do and will.
Are you driving the innovation? I mean, like, is it you? Are you the one that's making bean origin selections and figuring out
Yeah,
flavors?
yeah. I mean, I think I'm at the same time probably my biggest critic, where I'll sit and beat something up, 100 times. But that's one of the benefits for me to go to those events like we'll be at this weekend, and also we're at a farmers market in the art district of Boston on Sunday. Just hearing people's feedback and listening to them and interacting, to me, that is, for a small business owner, that is priceless, to get that feedback and to listen to what people are looking for and what people want.
So I've been alluding to your empire, but I'm gonna ask the hard question. Like, how many of you really are there? Is it you? Are you it?
Oh, there's me. I have a full-time chocolate maker, and right now I have 3 people wrapping, and that'll ramp up to about 6 people between now and the end of the year. So we're just
the foil, the nemesis, right? The foil nemesis of all craft chocolate makers.
Yeah, I mean, believe me, I'd love to have Tom Rick deliver a sample,
Loreca?
Yeah. In fact, we'll accept delivery 7 days a week here if you guys want to, try something alternative and just deliver one.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah,
I'll see what the powers that be say about that. But I wouldn't show up on Sunday hoping it's going to arrive. How's that?
I promise I'd put it on Instagram for you too. I hear that so often. People telling me, just give me some free chocolate and I'll put it on my Instagram account. And it's just a funny thing.
No, it's funny. Like it used to be one of my pitches to try to get people on this. Like, you're going to be on Instagram and you'll get marketing. And now it's like, it's just a fun project. Like, this is like for me, it's just like the opportunity to share people's stories is the gist of it. It's not about, I'm going to give you your marketing 5 minutes here at the end. Don't get me wrong. But the reality of it is, like, I got no promises that like you're going to sell any bars tomorrow.
Oh no. I look at it is, when going back 4+ years ago, when I started looking at equipment and trying to learn the entire industry, to me it was like, okay, I want one of those sell me tempering machines. Like that seems to be like every video I see on YouTube of what I would consider a respectable chocolatier or chocolate maker, they have one of these machines, and it became like just a personal goal of mine, and to come, not full circle, but just to come around 4 years later and to be on a chat with you, it's very humbling to me.
Yeah, well, thanks. Like, I don't know. Like, it's been weird. Like, I got to be honest with you. Like, we had some visitors here a couple of weeks ago, right? And which has been cool because like we haven't had people here very often, right? And I go to introduce myself, and they're like, "Oh, we know you." I'm like, okay, well, one, you don't. Like, we've never met. But two, like this whole thing like is weird for me because like, one, I'm saying like too many times, but I'm in awe of like people like you and people that are in it every day, right? Like I have this luxury of being able to kind of like dance in and out of this industry to a certain extent, right? Like, can I make a batch of chocolate? Sure. I can go make you 50 pounds of chocolate. I'll be back in like 4 hours, you know? And then, right, I can walk across the hall and I can put it in a machine and it'll mold it for me, right? And if I use the right bar, I'll package it. And people are like, wow, that all looks great, right? And I'm like, but that's not me. Like, so I have this like thing where people, you know, but having to like, okay, we're going to make 400 pounds a week and we're going to have to wrap 400 pounds a week and we're going to have to figure out how to sell 400 pounds a week. Those are people that like, I've got the easiest job in the world, right?
Yeah. I mean, it for anyone listening that's a small business owner, you know, in the last 18 months has definitely like challenged you to pick up your game.
Right.
And there's just no mercy to it. It's either you evolve or you're not going to be around next year. And like for me personally, I like that challenge. Like I like to be pushed in a corner and get into an awkward zone and push myself to take it to a next level. And I'm not saying that you don't get me wrong here, but I'm just saying as a small business owner, that is one of the probably like euphoric feelings is to like solve a problem and be able to like get going and see some successes from it.
Totally. Like, I don't take that personally at all. Like, you know, I mean, obviously we as a company had some challenges at the beginning of COVID and we've continued to have challenges on supply side. And if I read one more article about like distribution challenges, I'm going to punch somebody in the throat, but because we live it every day here. Right?
Oh yeah.
We get it. We're with you. We understand. Yeah.
I saw a podcast of yours in January or vlog or whatever you want to,
whatever it's called.
And you were mentioning like some of the challenges of getting containers, and I'm like, wow, if he only knew then what he knows now, and everybody, it's just all forms of business have this challenge.
Right. I won't put dollar figures on it, but I can tell you that a container from Europe that a year and a half ago cost X, right, and took 3 weeks,
right,
now costs 3 to 4X and takes 12 to 16 weeks. And you got a problem with that, that's too bad.
Right.
You know,
hopefully you don't get a call that it's 20 weeks.
Right. You might, I'm going to call somebody else. Go ahead, call somebody else.
Yeah, good luck.
Because you know what that does? That frees up a container for me to sell to somebody else more expensively.
Yeah.
So good, Godspeed.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
I've had conversations with my father and I try to explain, I went hunting we use a whiskey bottle in one of our products. And for 4 months, like once a week, I'd sit on the phone for 30 minutes, call my distributors, and I was fortunate enough to find somebody that had an alternative product that worked. But there's no sympathy for me. They want to sell me the product. They just can't.
Right. Yeah. Our compressor needs servicing. So I call, I make an appointment. They're like 2 weeks. I'm like, cool. They don't show up. And I kind of forgot about it. So I waited a week. I called, left a voicemail. They don't call me back. I call again yesterday. I'm like, hey, are you guys coming to service that? They're a local company, you know. They're like, we will when we get parts.
Yeah.
I'm like, when you get parts? They're like, yeah, we're out of parts. And it's just like, but it needs service. Yeah, we'll call you. Like when? I don't know. Like, okay, cool. And so, you know, cranky me is like, well, you know, you need to tell your customers that, and this is, it's like, but not having a $10 part prevents them from doing a $400 service.
Right.
Right. I mean, like they're the ones that are losing on this deal. Like when you don't have that whiskey bottle, they're losing and you're losing.
Right.
Right. Like, and I think that's the part that is hard, is that we're kind of losing sight of that trust me, everybody wants to sell you something.
Sure. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
do the service, or, dig the hole in your yard. They really want to. They just don't have time or the person.
Right. And I'd like to think that what happens from this moment in time, when we fast forward 2 years, 3 years from now, is the relationships that were built in the hard time that worked positive for both become long-term relationships because you went through it together at a partnership, not just, hey, we're going to sell that compressor part to the highest bidder kind of mentality.
Hey, so let's talk some more about chocolate. I'm not blowing smoke. This is really good. Like, I mean, and I don't mean that like I'm surprised, but I mean, like, how do you get from like 0 to really good in, sorry, I'm watching a pallet of chocolate roll by.
Oh,
like seriously, like, which I probably could sell to the highest bidder, like, because chocolate's at a premium right now, right?
Hopefully,
but I just
someone was manning that as it moved by.
Yeah, there was something attached to the pallet at one end, but it just like it went rolling by.
Yeah.
It was like,
wow,
crazy.
Yeah.
But how? I mean, honestly, like, how do you get from 0 to here, which I think is a pretty damn good product in a relatively short amount of time?
Yeah, I think going back to my younger days, going back to that brewery, one of the things that we talked about a lot is the beginning of every staff meeting we had something called continual process improvement, and sit there and just look at what we're doing and say, how can we be better? And how can we be better? And just taking the feedback I get around me, getting better equipment. Those are some of the things, getting some great people to work around me. Just that continual process improvement is just one of many steps to be successful to me.
Yeah, I think what's interesting, I referenced economy of scale earlier, right? Just kind of in passing about Barry Callebaut. But I think the hard part about chocolate is that it does get better when you can make more of it, right? It does.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to make 10 pounds of chocolate, and then it's hard to make 10 pounds of good chocolate.
Yeah.
It's actually easier if you have the right equipment to make 10,000 pounds of chocolate, right? Because it's more forgiving at that point.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've seen it in my background with beer. I could never brew a homebrew batch of beer because it'll never be, what I want it to turn out to be. And I find the same thing, like the ability to temper 50 pounds of chocolate right now, it just blows me away to have that ability from where we were before, and how I sat there and not only did I temper it, I crossed my fingers and hoped it came out right. So getting to where we are right now, we just keep working on getting a better product out to everyone.
Well, you're doing a bang up job.
No, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I mean, I know we're not talking about the potential move, but what's on the horizon? I mean, other new equipment, flavors, like what's next?
Well, we had just, I think I mentioned it to you when we first talked, but there's unfortunately, there's a bean to bar chocolate maker on the other side of the state that closed its doors in February. And we ended up purchasing all their major equipment. And that will help us when we relocate to our new larger facility at the end of the year. And it'll allow us to be able to make more in less time, and then we can focus on things like our retail. During the holiday season too, we make these hot cocoa bombs I don't know how many bean to bar chocolate makers are making a vegan hot cocoa bomb, but last year we did over 6,000 of them, and I don't know if they're going to be as popular this year. In a way, I was blessed for what they did last year, but it puts a smile on my face when some of our customers that have dairy restrictions can get a cocoa bomb.
Who are some people that you think are doing some great stuff in the industry?
Well, I mentioned Fruition earlier.
I was going to say, you mentioned Fruition, which is on my list too.
Yeah. I really admire, and I'm kind of like an East Coast guy. I don't know if it's a rap thing, but I'm more East Coast. But
do you when you go out to the Northwest Chocolate Festival? Do you wear your colors and do you do a scrap out in the parking lot?
Maybe I will. I was going to go this year, and then it got canceled, and then it made the decision easy for me.
You know what I'll do? I'll call Brian and tell him he's got to do some East Coast, West Coast chocolate thing next year, and create a little bit of a little bit of Biggie Tupac thing.
Tupac, I'm down with that, but in terms of where the industry is, and I know that we're limited on time, but Tyler down at 5150 in Delray is his formula. I think I see the craft chocolate industry going in that way, where you're making great bean to bar chocolate and you're making great confections from that at a high scale. So he's
the tolerance to pay for it's there, right? I mean, the hard part is, and I should have looked. What is that retail? What's that on your website?
9 on our website. A lot of retail is doing it for 7.
Right. So, I mean, you and I both know I can walk into my CVS. I'm not saying it's the same, and get 100 grams of chocolate for $3.50, right?
I was in my CVS shaking my head the other day, looking at the Halloween display.
Economy of scale, my friend. Economy of scale.
Oh yeah, and when we first started, it was staring across from somebody at a table and them saying, "You want $9 for that? I can go buy 9 chocolate bar," and that's where I say the education comes in. That's why I like to get in front of people and talk about why we're different.
Right. My dollar coffee example, right? I mean, I spend $4 for a cup of coffee now, a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And I kind of I'm like, that was a lot. And then I go back tomorrow morning and I get another $4 cup of coffee.
Right. You might snicker and say, I remember when, waving your hand in the air. But the reality is you're satisfied with it and you'll do it again tomorrow. More than likely. Maybe with a croissant too.
It's usually my sassy little breakfast sandwich on brioche. But yeah.
The same thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But right, it's the same thing. I'm not buying a biscuit with a piece of bacon on it, right?
Yeah.
So that was Fruition?
Yeah.
You're the East Coast guy.
Fruition, like I said, Tyler down at 5150, Good Now Farms in Massachusetts is I admire everything that they do from start to finish. And it's great to see what I would consider local chocolate to me, really stepping up their game on a national level.
Check out Thorncrest.
Okay.
They're in Massachusetts. They have a dairy.
Oh, nice.
And they make their own milk powder.
Oh, jeez.
And they make their own caramel, right? With the milk powder and the milk that they have from their own cows. And they will specify specific cows to specific formulas.
Yeah. That's
it's totally and I wanted to talk to them here. They're like, no, we don't want to do that. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, maybe that'll come around. Maybe they just they're worried about the cows right now more than.
Well, they're up at 4 a.m. milking the cows.
Yeah.
When do you have time to make chocolate? I guess in the day. You have time to make chocolate between the hours of 5 a.m. and 5 o'clock at night when you got to go back and milk the cows again.
Yeah, that's rough. I've worked with some dairy farmers and they get beat up on all sides, sometimes with a hoof in their chest and sometimes with dairy prices. So if they can control their price of their product by putting it into their product, that's awesome.
Got it. All right, so you were at that. You knew this question was coming because everybody now knows this question is coming. But you were at that CVS the other day, picking up a box of Band-Aids. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And like you decided to walk through the mass market candy aisle, and you're going to pick up one mass market candy bar because you don't have Loon Chocolate at your local CVS. What's the mass market candy bar you're buying?
Yeah, I knew this was coming. It's, I think, definitely a whatchamacallit is my bar, and probably because I've never liked mass marketed chocolate, but I like that crunchy. I don't know if it's peanut butter. I don't know what the hell's in it.
Everything's in it. That's the point. There's hardly any chocolate in it.
Yeah, but it's it's a comfort food to me. It's, as a kid with 50 cents in my pocket, going to the country store to buy my dad a pack of cigarettes. That was something that I would grab, and many, many years later, it still is like a, hey, I'm stressed out, let me grab that.
All right, there you go. And this is the other thing you knew was coming. I've been marketing your product for the last hour. But Loon Chocolate, my new favorite bean-to-bar chocolate is this one, the Caribbean Kiss. It's backwards though, but people can read it.
Yeah.
Website is?
LoonChocolate.com.
Instagram is Loon Chocolate, I think.
Loon Chocolate, and Facebook, we're on
Twitter.
No Twitter.
TikTok.
Only one, and that was because an employee was good at it. I can't do it. I can't
even do like the stories here. Like I went to share something earlier, and I'm like, I had to call the marketing guys. I'm like, you guys have to do this. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
All right. So, well, you probably have chocolate to make, don't you?
Yeah, I gotta get ready for this weekend. We got a couple events going on, and check on inventory and sales.
Cool. Well, Scott, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. And
thank you.
Good luck with the holiday seasons.
Oh yeah.
And the other thing that I didn't plug because I'm plugging everything today. This is one of my favorite bars that we sell.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I have my own personal bar that I designed that looks like a cocoa pod.
Oh yeah, the larger full-size cocoa pod. Yep.
It's about the same weight, and it might just fit in this package.
Oh yeah, that package is oversized, so I'll check it out.
I'll find a way. You send me, you sent me a box of goodies. Maybe I'll find a way to like send you one of those molds, and you can tell me what you think about it.
That'd be great. And by the way, to plug you even more, be attending one of the online classes with Chris next week. So
we don't talk about it because it's sold out, and people are pissed at me that I'm not letting people in.
That's called FOMO, Brian. That's a good thing. They can sign up early.
We doubled the size of the classes from last time, and we still sold them both out.
That's why
an hour.
That's why when you posted, I signed up within the hour because I got burned, self-induced. I got burned on the last one. So
lots of caramel. The recipes are all scaled already, starting on Tuesday. Are you in the morning or the afternoon?
Afternoon.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll see you Tuesday afternoon.
Great. Thank you much.
Thanks, man. Thanks, everybody.
Everyone.
Join us next week. Bye.
Bye.